Welcome to Mom Talk. I'm Chenier. Thanks for joining us today. Has COVID-19 made parenting more difficult for you? Well, you're not alone. Millions of moms around the world are struggling to do everyday activities with their kids while facing new challenges. Some of those challenges range from school, extracurricular activities, family gatherings, and even celebrations and travel. Today, I'm joined by two moms, both who have 7-year-old kids. I'd like to introduce to you Shatrion Reynolds, as well as Mona Shab. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks. Thanks.
So let's start off with the more prevalent challenges lately, which is summer travel. How have you all planned family vacations for your kids? Mona, I hear that you've taken up camping.
That's right. So I was sent home from work last March, in addition to my son being sent home from school and everything being shut down. We literally just stayed in the house. I'm working all day. So he's in front of the iPad or trying to amuse himself. And I'm still working from home till this day, but my husband had wanted to get us out of the house. And the way we thought we could do that is we bought a camper in December. And that's how we're doing our little vacations and getting out of the house. We're taking extended weekends or just regular weekends camping.
That's really neat. I mean, were you an outdoor person before this?
Every once in a while, I don't mind doing something outside or getting dirty. But this really was needed for our family because we haven't done much. We hardly had any play dates, or we have not attended any birthday parties thus far. So it's been over a year. We just enrolled my son in baseball because it's an outdoor activity. And that just started 2 weeks ago. So this is really good for our family to get out of these four walls.
That's a great idea. And of course, with COVID, it's a lot safer to be outside. Shatrion, you took a different approach to your travel this year. Where did you go?
I did. I feel like I'm probably been living a little bit more on the edge than Mona. But I got my vaccine, and I guess just kind of taking chances, given that knowing that travel places and flights and things were using limited numbers of occupants, and having all the masking and sanitizers and things in place. So we've actually taken a couple of little trips where we had to fly. But each time, like a couple of times, we were like the only people flying on some of those flights, or in our most recent trip to Disney World, there were instances where like we were the only ones on the bus. So it was really great. And I kept telling my daughter, like, don't get used to this. It's never going to be like this again. So it was really nice kind of having those COVID precautions in place where, the lines moved really quickly in Disney World, and the parks weren't crowded, and you didn't feel I never really felt crowded at any point in the park, which is amazing to say in Disney World, right? Or even in the areas where you would expect people to kind of block up on each other, like in the entrance ways or the transportation hubs. I never felt like that at all. So we've really tried to take advantage of it now that we are vaccinated.
Talk to me a little bit about masking. How are your kids dealing with wearing a face mask? Has it just become second nature to them? How's Porter doing, Mona?
Mask, in regards to masks, he's really good. He knows when we approach school, he needs to put it on in the car due to rolling down the window in carpool and the temperature being checked. and navigating throughout school, he has to wear it. So I know he's really good about that. He's only been in a store in a public place a handful of times since COVID. So literally we are not doing much still. So he's fine for a short period. He knows he needs to wear it when we're in a public place, but I try to leave him home if I have to make a trip to the grocery or something. So he knows it's the rule right now. And he doesn't fight me too much, but while we're in the public place, if it is an extended period, he's telling me, and I want to take it off, and he starts complaining, but he'll leave it on.
How about Elise Chatrian?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like she's even better about it, at least remembering it than I am. It's become kind of that second nature to her where she sounds like Porter, where she's putting her own mask on in the carpool line. As we approach the school, she knows it needs to be on before she gets out the car. And when we go places, she's always the first to say, like, where's my mask before she gets out of the car. She's less keen on the sanitizer. Usually she's taken her own interesting little approach, I've noticed over this past year, where when we go places, she goes out of her way not to touch anything. So she will walk up to doors and just stand there with her arms by her side and let me touch everything. And that way, because I think she doesn't like using the sanitizer all the time. So that way, when I do take the sanitizer out, she's like, well, I don't need it. I haven't touched anything. But she's telling the truth. She doesn't. She avoids touching things. But she's a girl, so I'm sure it's been different with like a boy like Porter. But yeah, so she doesn't mind the mask at all, but she seems to mind the sanitizer.
Do you think the kids will carry on a lot of these new traditions of masking and using hand sanitizer and, just keeping an eye out for a little more sanitary way of doing things in life, even after the pandemic's over?
I mean, I think so. I think keeping a distance when it comes to like other kids or being at a playground and stuff, I think that kind of goes out of the window with them. They forget. But then when we're in places like when we did travel and we're in the airport and the security lines are supposed to be spaced out, she's super cautious about keeping her distance from like other adults and things. But I think it, kind of goes away when it's like her kind of scenario, like that's familiar, like a playground or something with other kids, then that's when she kind of lets go of that caution.
I do agree with Shetron about the playground and when other kids are around. But I also think once life starts to truly get back to normal, I'm almost thinking just about everything I've instilled in Porter will fizzle out, which may be a good thing. It may be,
Yeah.
I'm hoping he forgets a lot about this. I mean, I doubt he will forget everything about this as he grows up. And they probably will learn about this in school. I believe, a sad time. But it's, time to live life and move on.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're about 14 months into this pandemic, and it seems like everybody's getting more used to living this way. But how have you two dealt with celebrating your child's birthday and just some of their little life milestones during this past year? I mean, both of your kids graduated from kindergarten, and of course, there were no formal graduation ceremonies. Mona, could you talk to me a little bit about that?
We've done the drive-by birthday parties, and for my son, and actually Shatrian's daughter, their birthdays are 8 days apart. So January of last year, they were able to celebrate their birthdays. Well, this year is a bit different for the both of them, for themselves, in the sense to where I did not plan anything. I had a talk with my son and I told him that we could potentially do a half birthday in the summer when it gets warmer and since their birthdays are in January, this half birthday would be where it could be outdoors. And my mom actually on a Saturday morning at 8:30 texted me, "Did you plan anything for Porter's party?" And I said, "No, we're not doing anything." She said, "Well, we have to do something. How about a few of us pass by and honk our horn?" And she sure did. It was she and my brother and my in-laws honked the horn as they passed by. They all jumped out the car and we had a little cake outside. A neighborhood girl stopped over. My husband did get a fire truck to stop by.
Oh, that's neat.
And yeah, that was different. So we still may do something this summer. I'm thinking maybe hibachi outdoors and a couple ponies and a petting zoo. But I think to top it all off, Chatrian's, what she planned for her daughter's birthday topped everybody's. I really enjoyed what her idea was, and she can elaborate a little more on that.
Aw, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, my daughter's birthday idea actually stemmed from her, because like Mona mentioned, a lot of people were doing the drive-by parties at that point in time. And, with kids, they're always looking for the next thing. And I guess, I don't know if she was kind of over the whole drive-by thing because the school had done drive-bys for their classes. And then, friends and people, our family, everybody's been driving by honking with posters. So her idea was that she wanted to do something that she enjoys, and she likes to give presents to her friends. She likes to give, I guess, almost as much as she likes to get presents. And so she just told me she wanted to bake cupcakes and go bring them to her friends. And then that idea kind of grew from there. So we said we'd do kind of a reverse drive-by, where instead of asking everybody to get together and drive by our house for her, we would just drive her around and let her go bring little cupcakes and little kits. She ended up with a Blue's Clues detective theme. So we made detective kits and drop them to each of her friends' houses. And it worked out really well because everybody kind of just came out onto their front porches, and she'd visit with them for maybe like 3 minutes and just quick enough to get a picture and like a little and deliver the little cupcake and the kit to her friends and visit and then move on to the next house. And I mean, we were in the car for us, it was about a 5-hour day driving around to all the different houses and stops, but it really worked out well. And it was really, I think, fun for everybody that was involved. It gave us a lot of good memories.
That's really neat. They always say new innovation comes out of tragedies a lot of times. And so that's a good example of a child turning a happy event into something even more positive and impacting others. What would you say is like the number one, takeaway from COVID or good thing that's come out of your child's life because of COVID?
I think in the very beginning, life was hectic and fast paced before COVID. So Shatrian and our children were just turning 6 at the time of all this. But prior to that, I could say for myself, I don't know about Shatrian, but since my son turned about 3, up until the pandemic hit, weekends were packed. We were doing back-to-back birthday parties, and you're trying to fit in your errands and such that you were not able to do during the week. So it was very fast paced and very exhausting. And then when COVID hit, we just all took a step back when we couldn't leave the house. Shatrian and I, along with our group of friends, we were doing Friday evening porch Zoom meetings. So it was a group of us, sometimes 8 of us at a time on Friday evenings. On our own porch on Zoom. We didn't see each other for a long time, but I think it was almost needed. Well, that part was needed in a sense to just take a breather. But honestly, 14 or so months, it's a bit much, and now this is overwhelming. life still is not back to where it should be for myself anyway, for a few reasons. I know other people haven't skipped a beat thus far, but I think it was good in a sense to try and get some additional family time in within my household, that we were on the go so much before we couldn't enjoy each other. So that was one positive thing about this.
Mhm. Yeah, I think people learn new ways of interacting with their family. And of course, a lot of grandparents were introduced to the world of Zoom and FaceTime. So that was kind of neat. I felt personally that it kind of plunged everybody ahead, you know, a little at a faster pace than we had anticipated. I never foresaw my parents ever, you know, organizing a Google Meet or a Zoom, you know, for family to hang out and talk or to celebrate an occasion. But now they're whizzes at it. So, and Shatrian, what was your takeaway from COVID?
Virtual happy hours and grocery pickup. No, I'm just kidding. That's what got us through. But yeah, to Mona's point, you know, in those first few months, doing those Friday virtual porch get-togethers with our friends to kind of motivate ourselves and cheer each other on, because it was tough with us working moms and then trying to do homeschool at the same time. It was, you know, we were all exhausted moms, and so having that little support group was really great. But I think the takeaway for us, you know, I felt like there were a lot of opportunities where we could have been kind of down. Like I remember last Easter and everything, just feeling like, oh gosh, like, you know, we're just, you know, home. We couldn't go out to all these events like we normally did. But looking back on it, my daughter on these occasions would tell me, this was the best Easter ever, mommy, you know, like, and everything that we've done, just like you said, finding new ways to be creative at home, has just, we've taken advantage of it. And having that togetherness time, you know, when you feel like, well, this isn't going to last forever, you know, so to be able to be home with our little 7-year-olds, you know, or 6-year-olds at the time, is kind of a blessing in disguise, you know, like, I mean, who else gets to have that opportunity? And so we definitely took advantage of it. And then we also, I think Mona and I both ended up purchasing and installing backyard equipment, much like everybody else around the country. Home backyard equipment was on back order over last summer, and for the kids. But yeah, I think that would be the takeaway, is just like, you know, having that together time and finding new innovative ways to make traditions. Yes.
Well, thank you both for joining us. And thank you, followers of Mom Talk, for joining in today. We learned a lot from Mona and Chatrian. You know, don't be afraid to celebrate your child's half birthday, or have a virtual happy hour, or a porch Friday get together with friends on Zoom, and get out there. Don't be afraid to travel, take precautions, and even give camping a try. And if you're not into camping, then try glamping. Thanks for joining us for this issue of Mom Talk. Have a great day.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.